And welcome to a new edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you fellas doing?
Doing all right, man. Stressful Bears game last night, man. I said this to Zoo, man. I don't think a team has had a back-to-back exact score where they win 25-24 in 2 straight weeks. I think that's got to be one of the weirdest. Call it a scoregami, whatever you want, but I guess if they do it again, technically it isn't a scoregami anymore. But another big I took a big loss to Zoo this week, man. It was tough. The team went nuclear. Got to give them props, man. But, a bad week for my team 120, I'll take it, man. That's not bad. But you know who looked really good this weekend, Zoo? The Indiana Hoosiers, number 3 in the country.
Yes, sir, man.
Wait, really?
After the win at Oregon.
Wait, they number 3?
They beat the number 3 team on the road. And they kind of manhandled them in the second half, if I got to say, man. They might be legit. I think they're.
No, they are legit.
They are legit. But for us, it's weird because we never dealt with that.
Man, they're making Indiana sound like Ohio State football right now.
That's going to be the Big Ten championship this year, and that's number 1 and number 3, man. So go Hoosiers.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. That's a crazy ball, man. I was like, dang, number 3 in the nation? Jesus. Never thought I'd see the day of all my days of going to Indiana football and watching them lose to Ohio State and looking, we had a cute first quarter. We're within 1 possession and get blown out in the second half. But shout out to the good old Hoosiers, man, for getting it done.
Curt Cignetti comes from the Saban tree, man. Saban tree. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, props to him. He's probably getting paid handsomely, and I guess he definitely deserves it because that program from a non-football program to this, they're very impressive. So shout out to the Hoosiers. So they undefeated, huh?
Yeah, they haven't lost.
They undefeated. Just like me this week. 4-0, baby. 4-0. 4-0. A clean sweep. Shout out to Rico Dowdle and Cam Scatterboot, man. Those guys, I'm telling you, man, when I saw Cam Scatterboot drop 3 touchdowns on Thursday,
I knew it was over.
I knew it was over. I'm like, that's never happening ever again. Like Cam Scatterboot, IQ of like a puppy, man. This guy went crazy. Like shout outs to him for getting it done for my fantasy football team because it desperately needed it. And who would have thought, man? Cam Scatterboot with a hat trick. Against the Eagles.
Against the Eagles.
Think about it. A hat trick against the Eagles, man. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Fantasy for me was great. I had one of the lowest scoring games. The opponent I went to was also very low scoring. I was telling the guys it was between Josh Allen and Khalil Shakur. So you never know, but ended up pulling that out in my 14-team league. So I was happy about that. And to your point, Peebush, with the Indiana Hoosiers, it is pretty remarkable how the portal, people like to point to that. And like that first year, there's a little bit of doubt because he brought everybody from James Madison. And then it's like, how's he going to incorporate? He figured that out. But I think we pretty much like how he's analyzing and how he's able to get Indiana into the position is he's really evaluating the quarterback position well. And in this day and age in the portal, because a lot of these teams are getting a lot of the talent and spreading out, if you get that difference maker at quarterback, you're going to be able to be in some games. So shout out to the Hoosiers. And when are you guys' homecoming? You guys might have to go back.
I think it might be this coming weekend, but it is so expensive to go down there right now. Yeah. Hotels are at like $1,000 a night. It's ridiculous.
$1,000?
They are.
$1,000.
Holy.
And Zoo, as you know, there aren't that many down there either.
Oh, there's not many, man.
They know.
They know. Breakfast ends, man. Not many.
Yep. That little college town,
Yeah.
Shout out. I do want to go down. And I have a feeling this won't be the last year we're relevant. So.
And I think so. I think it's the Big Ten championship game. Where is this? In Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Yeah. So So I don't know how far that is, but that might be a trip for the.
That's what I'm going for. I want to go to either the playoffs or the Big Ten championship game.
For sure. So so college football is something that we don't really talk about a lot, but I mean we have something unprecedented, like the Indiana Hoosiers being number 3 in the nation. You kind of got to mention it. So shifting gears, we will be talking about the NBA today. As most know, it's the middle of October. So basically the next couple of days, the NBA will be starting. And it's a lot of storylines every year. It's a lot of drama. There's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. But we kind of first want to get into just the basics of how we see the NBA season going. And Peebush, I wanted to start with, who do you think is going to make the Eastern Conference Finals, or not Eastern Conference Finals, but the NBA Finals from the East and the Western Conference?
I'll start with Some people might say it's the more competitive of the two division or conferences, and I would 100% agree with you. But I'd say that there's a tier 1, and then everyone else is on tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. I just think I don't think they give up the throne this quickly when they're still in their window where they can afford to have players. It will start catching up with them in about a year or two, and I think that's when things will kind of balance out with especially just their depth. But we saw them, man. They dominated. I know the Pacers. The cute story, 4-7, man.
They won 7. They won 7.
And that was the cutest of cute stories that you will ever find, man. And I just think that experience for a team that is as young as the Thunder are is just pivotal for the next 10 years of each of their respective careers, and for however long some of these guys stay together down there in Oklahoma City. So, sure, Rockets got Kevin Durant. You got the Clippers looking really nice. I mean, Harden and Zubac, they both had great seasons last year. They got to come back and do it again. Interested to see what Harden does as he continues to age. But, man, that Kawhi Leonard situation is kind of hanging over their head right now. I'll let Zeus speak on the Clippers because that's usually his annual preview team that he likes to cover. But, I think they'll be relevant. Obviously, you got the Timberwolves there as well, coming back with Anthony Edwards and co. They did lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who I might talk on a little bit later in the podcast. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Thunder, I got them coming out of the West. The East, though, man, this is a very interesting conference, and I kind of am equating it a little bit to the NFC this year, man. Preseason, what we expected with the NFC. I know everyone talked about the Eagles and the Lions, right? You got the big names. Well, the big name in the East, man, the Boston Celtics, they're kind of in a gap here right now with the Jason Tatum injury. So this is a little bit wide open for the taking. Pacers, obviously, without Halliburton. That's why I'm calling them a cute story. I'm sure they will be back and relevant deep in Eastern playoff runs for the next couple of years, but I just don't think it's going to happen this year. Sure, they have another, Nembhard, obviously Siakam and co, but I can't see them keeping it together, even if he was miraculously able to return off of an Achilles in April. I think it'll just be too little too late, and their seeding might catch up with them. Bucks are the Bucks, man. They waived Damian Lillard. Can't believe it. He went home, all that. But, Giannis is Giannis, and sure, he will carry if he can stay healthy, but I just don't see the Bucks doing too much. Cleveland, the cutest of cute stories. They're the Atlanta Hawks, and they just of 2015, 2014, 15 years. But they're doing it every single year, man. They're getting 50, 55, 60 wins. Obviously, this is something I didn't know until I was looking into it today. They have the most expensive roster in the NBA.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even think about that. And you wouldn't even really consider it. And shout out for a team going all in, and I get it. But brittleness has actually been their biggest issue. They've had, outside of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland's had injury issues. Mobley's had issues. Obviously, Jared Allen's always in and out of the lineup as well with some health issues. Brittleness is not going to help you in a deep playoff run, and that is not a winning attribute to have on your team. So as much as I think that they will be a top 2 seed in the East this year, I just don't have them making it to the finals, which leaves me to my NBA Finals pick on the Eastern side, the Orlando Magic.
Oh, wow.
Let's go.
Dude, you can talk about how bad of a shooting team this team is, man. I really liked the Jace Richardson draft pick. I think he can spread the floor enough. But the biggest pivotal, we've talked about this guy for years, man. Tyus Jones coming in with a legitimate point guard. Yeah, Jalen Suggs is a solid player, known more as a defender. Now you have a primary ball handler who can shoot 40 to 41% from the three-point range, man. That's desperately what this team needs. They don't need a bunch more 3-and-D guys. They got all that. They have the big man Wendell Carter Jr., man. So, Paolo Banchero, this is his coming out year. Is he going to be in an MVP conversation? He could be a dark horse. Maybe we'll talk about that later on. But he is going to take another leap this year, I think. And sure, like I said, bad shooting team. They can improve that. Franz Wagner, man, he 88% from the free throw line, and you go and shoot 29% outside. Come on. There's got to be some sort of improvement, I think, in this team year over year on the offensive side. I have zero concerns on the defensive side of the ball with this team, man. We're the number 1 defensive team last year, and that's not something that you lose overnight, especially when a team is not coming off like a finals hangover and they were a great defensive team. No, this team is hungry. They're in it. They have their cheap window right now.
Yep.
And I think they're going to fully take advantage out of the Eastern Conference this year.
Wow.
But they lose in the finals, of course. They lose in
Okay.
the finals.
Wow. Orlando Magic. Wow. Because
Yes,
that's
sir.
going from winning no playoff series to championship to the NBA Finals.
Little like the Pacers.
Wow. I don't know about I don't like the Pacers because the Pacers the year before they did
That's
make
true.
it. They didn't make a deep run. They did make it to the conference finals, and even though they got beaten by Boston, they were highly competitive in those games. So
True.
It wasn't like an absolute butt whooping for them. So they had a
Magic did
trajectory.
compete.
Let me ask you.
Indiana was
No, I'm not
they were
comparing. I'm just saying the Magic
Indiana
were
was
so
one
competitive.
possession games, like every single game that they played against
It was
the Celtics.
It was a clean sweep, but it was a competitive sweep.
It was a
And
competitive.
they actually should have won the first game, and that could have maybe changed the whole momentum. If Jaylen Brown doesn't make that shot, I think in the corner, then maybe it's. I think really quick though, before Zoo goes, to the point Zoo just made about like just going from like 0 to 100. There might be a good chance that whoever they're playing in the conference finals is another team that hasn't really been there.
Agreed.
The teams that are all experienced are like
they're aging out or they're injured.
They're injured.
That's why I'm picking them. It's actually kind of hard to pick a dark horse without picking a potential dark horse to win it. Really, I think that's the. I mean, you could say the Knicks. I don't know. They might be up there, but I just think the Magic. They have, if they can take a step offensively, I think they have the most complete basketball team right now in the Eastern Conference.
Interesting. Yeah, because if you look at, let's start with the Eastern Conference. We left off of there. It's such an interesting conference with all the injuries and all the contenders just being. These are like you just crossed the Boston Celtics off. Like the Boston Celtics are so bad without Tatum, and Al Horford's like, we can't compete this year. I'm going to the Warriors. I'm going to the Warriors, man. That's what he said. Like, we can't compete without Jason Tatum. So he left. He wants to compete for a championship. And even Boston Celtics fans knows it's game over. Indiana Pacers with their engine, Tyrese is out. So we got two teams that have been legitimate perennial contenders for the last 2 years. Boston, even more years, like completely out. So it's really, really weird. Like in the Eastern Conference, there's going to be a lot of new blood making it to the playoffs, and they might not be good teams at all. Like you're going to have some, I would say, some very easy 8 seed, 7 seed, 6 seeds where you're going to get some really, really bad teams able to make it because
like the Bulls
potentially this year. Like I would not be surprised the Bulls somehow surprising, maybe. Hopefully they finally make it out of the play-in for once in my lifetime and then make it to like the 6th seed or something. But this conference is like completely disheveled with the injuries because on the bottom, like you don't Washington Wizards and Charlotte Hornets, like these teams are still going to be god awful right now. So if you're looking at the middle for the teams, like half of the playoff teams in the Eastern Conference might be like 500 middling teams, which is
or below.
Yeah, or below. So it's like it's going to be a cakewalk for whoever is in the top 4 right now to pretty much run the table in the Eastern Conference, get free wins right now. So you look at the contenders right now, I think it's pretty simple in these. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers, even though they are the Atlanta Hawks of this Eastern Conference right now, where they win 64 wins. Analytics are beautiful, 10-plus point differential. They did get hit by the injury bug last year, as you mentioned, Darius Garland, even Evan Mobley. Like they had a lot of injuries that compounded, especially at the playoffs, and they obviously couldn't overcome that. Donovan Mitchell couldn't carry them. So that injury asterisk, I still give them that. Like a lot of injuries did happen for them to get derailed and get upset by the Indiana Pacers. So I'm looking at the Cavs right there. The New York Knicks, I don't know. You kind of gloss over the New York Knicks. Like he kind of just like talked about the Cavs and Knicks, whatever. Orlando Magic, like that. I think the Knicks are kind of legitimate because of the way of the play style. And this is an opportunity to see we go from Thibodeau to Mike Brown. Very, very interesting because that's the switch they flipped this year. Like, you know me and the Tibbs methodology of running your players to the ground, and they just kind of out of juice in the playoffs and just get battered up. So that's the one variable. I'm like, okay, I kind of like that. Like Mike Brown, he did some good things in Sacramento when he was down there. Like, obviously had a slow start last year and got let go, but I'll be kind of interested to see what he does with this team right now because this is a team where there's also a wild card out there, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm telling.
They're going to trade for him.
They're not getting him.
No, I'm saying if he goes to any team, I think it's the Knicks.
Sure.
And Giannis is already laying the framework of we'll see what happens. Like he has not been committal right now because if he doesn't sign an extension, or if he tells the Bucks he's not signing an extension, they're going to have to trade him this year.
Yeah.
They're going to have to trade him next year. And there's some ties. Like, it's an easy flight from New York to Greece, man. That's all I got to say. He's always talking about he wants to go home. He says he doesn't want to live in the United States. He wants to live in Greece. It's a little easier flight flying out of the JFK to Greece. That's all I got to say.
Versus the Milwaukee airport.
Then driving to O'Hare.
Versus Milwaukee. Yeah, or go to Chicago, get a flight. So those are legitimate reasons. Like, okay, that is a real reason of Giannis. He loves his country, he loves his family down there. So that is a legitimate reason where I'm like, that's a little asterisk right there. But if you look at this roster and on paper right now, it's still a fantastic team last year. The only reason this team last year was not getting it done was because of their bench. Like, that is the biggest key, where all they had to do was have a legitimate bench. And because you're talking about the starting lineup, it's one of the most talented starting lineups in the NBA. And now they just added some bench guys, like especially Jordan Clarkson. He's just a classical six-man
microwave.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the type of guy you need on a team like this, where you give you 20 minutes, man, be a spark plug off the bench. You bring a guy like a Malcolm Brogdon who's been battered by injuries, but they're going to only ask him to play 15 to 18 minutes a game. So they're bringing some veteran presence to add to this roster, where there's no more 45 minutes of OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Townsend destroying these guys with Mike Brown. Like, Mike Brown's coming from a system where he came from the Golden State Warriors tree. Like, they rest their players too. So I'm telling you right now, if you look at the starting lineup, pretty much on paper, exact same starting lineup. But if you're looking at that roster's bench, hopefully they can use a little more Landry Shamet. Because last year, Landry Shamet is a good bench player. Like, when Thibodeau used him, he could hit the three and he could D up, even though he's a smaller guy. So all you got to use is a bench player and Landry Shamet. You got like a Josh Hart who's still there. You add in the new guys and Clarkson and Malcolm Brogdon. That's a pretty solid bench rotation. And you can rotate Mitch Robinson in and out of the lineup right there. So you're talking about a roster that I would say is 8 to 9 players deep this year, and you could utilize them fully. And if Mike Brown could utilize them, they should make it out of the Eastern Conference. They should absolutely make it out of the Eastern Conference, because you're never getting a better opportunity in the next decade with the number of injuries and Achilles now in this season. So if you're looking at their opportunity to strike, it is absolutely right now. And I'm a Brunson guy, because I think he can lead this roster. Brunson's a playoff guy. I know he plays a little heliocentric basketball where he completely dominates the basketball like a Luka Doncic. But I think with this roster, and if the key is if the coaching can make offensive adjustments and offensive system that could benefit a Brunson and make it a little more creative, they could definitely get it done. So I am 100% leaning the Knicks right now as my pick of making it to the NBA Finals right now.
Do you like their defense?
Mike Brown, let's go. Mitchell Robinson's the key.
He's a defensive coach, though, ain't he, Mike Brown?
Yeah, he's a defensive coach, but like if you look at the person,
he's a LeBron coach.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But if you look at the personnel, they should not be that bad on defense. Like, obviously, Towns and Brunson are limited, but if you look at the supporting wing players, Mitch Robinson, you should be able to be a good defensive team right now. So I think a lot of the lack of defense is the lack of energy, because they're expanding on offense. And I'm sorry, you can't be playing guys 40 minutes when you're dynamic wings. You're asking to be a two-way wing. Yeah. Even a two-way wing playing 45 minutes a night, you're not going to become a two-way wing anymore, because you just be so – like, Mikal Bridges was like, we can't be doing this. And this is an Ironman, 82 games, never complains, one of the nicest guys in the NBA. And he called up Thibodeau, be like, what are we doing? And it's not like they don't have backup wings. Like, you got great players on this roster.
He doesn't trust anybody.
Yeah, that's the problem with him. That's what got him fired. And
I just hate that. I hate when coaches say that. I hate that, because to me, it's like, if you're saying you don't trust certain players and teams, that means you're not a good coach. Why aren't you coaching better than you can trust them?
Like, you can't just be spamming the same button, like the same players over and over. Like, that's the easy. Like, of course, you want to play your best players, but you got to be a little creative and just spare some guys 5 to 10 minutes. Like, don't have to drain your guys. So I'm gonna get this road to the playoffs right now. The Knicks had playoff battle wounds. Like, this is a team that's been tested.
They definitely have
for multiple years of making it to second round of the playoffs, and they're taking that step. They're in that trajectory right now, and I think the only difference is we got a bench now. We got a bench, and hopefully Mike Brown uses that bench and get it done, because that's the biggest factor changing. A new bench with a new coach could elevate them, because you're looking at the rest of the conference, man. You got the Cavaliers, you got the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis with a bunch of – he got no point guard. Like, his point guard is Kevin Porter Jr. Like, so you look at these rosters right now. Giannis doesn't really have any help. Indiana Celtics, no superstars. Who else is there? I like Orlando, but I think in that first year of the puzzle, they got to take that next step, have a little playoff chemistry, especially with integrating a lot of new players in Desmond Bane. Like they got a completely new back.
Yeah, I forgot about Bane too.
Yeah, Desmond Bane. Like Desmond Bane was the big ticket acquisition. I think he's gonna help them out a lot, but I think there's gonna have some chemistry and building that chemistry of how is this team gonna run with Desmond Bane,
a deep team, man.
And some shooter. Like, it's a really, really good team. Like Casey, like you got some players over there, but I feel like I need to see some playoff battles for them to elevate to the NBA Finals. And I think the Knicks got the more experience, so I'm gonna leave the New York Knicks right now.
I think they built that team a little bit in Orlando to not saying to beat the Knicks, but they match up well with the Knicks specifically, I think. So
and I think vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah, because of the wings.
Yeah, they got the dynamic wings. They match up. Like they got bigger. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I don't know who's like. I guess you put OG Anunoby on Paolo Banchero. Probably,
oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah,
but then
he's 6'7".
Who's Cat guarding, and who's Mitchell Robinson guarding?
You guard Wendell.
Yeah,
guard Wendell.
They are. Now that you're going just through the entire lineup, it's like they're kind of they do marry each other very well. I think Orlando's bench might be. Do they still have? They don't have Cole Anthony. They still got
no.
What's the dude?
Jonathan Isaac.
There's another guard.
KCP.
Jace Richardson, you said him. Yeah, they drafted him. So
yeah, Jace Richardson
becomes the difference on the bench or whatever. And I'm still holding out. I think they still got the shooting guard from Michigan. He was a G League guy. I'm hoping he just somehow comes on and becomes like a rotation guy because he was so good at Michigan just shooting. It was Juwan Howard's son. Like he was really good. It's just I don't know why it's not translating so far. Some guys take longer. But you know, who'd you have? So you got OKC for the West?
Not I'm putting OKC and Denver again because I'm putting Denver in the same category.
Oh God!
I'm putting Denver in the same category.
What's the dude? Bruce Brown. Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the context. Last year they went 7 games. They went 7 games, and if you Jokic carried like no other player I've ever seen, and they got a supporting cast. They said bye-bye to Russell Westbrook. They said bye-bye. They said bye-bye. We need some higher IQ guys, right? So you're talking about high IQ guys. Let's bring back the champion Bruce Brown. Let's bring back.
I'm over.
I'm not. Dude.
Chasing nostalgia.
It's not chasing nostalgia,
literally.
Man. It's not chasing nostalgia. It is not chasing.
It is. They want to.
It is.
Asking for 20. No.
He was buns in Indiana. He was buns in Milwaukee.
You're acting like Bruce Brown is 40 years old. The dude is 29.
But what has he done since he left?
Dude, he tried to be a first or be a primary option for the Indiana Pacers. Like
he chased the bag.
He got his money. He's never been paid because he was a second round pick. Like he chased the bag, and I understand that. But after chasing the bag and be like, okay, I'm just not that good as a primary scoring option. You go to the Indiana, Toronto Raptors, like come on.
Deja vu.
What do you mean?
Last year was all the Russell Westbrook additions going to put the Nuggets back on top.
He was kind of good. He had his moments.
You just said they got rid of him because they didn't.
Yeah, he had his moments, but he had really bad moments too. He had really, really bad moments. But I'm telling you, they got some IQ now. They shipped off Michael Porter, who I think is a pretty low IQ guy. You bring in a Cam Johnson, who's a high IQ guy who plays
I like that.
A very similar role. Like he's a shooter. He's a wing guy. He could defend. Like he just kind of fits like perfectly with playing off a Jokic guy, right? And you got the elevation of some hopefully young players in Peyton Watson. Hopefully he could develop a 3-point shot. And Tim Hardaway Jr., you bring in some shooting because Jokic desperately needed some guys to hit some threes around him. So one thing that Tim Hardaway Jr. could do, that guy could flat out shoot the tray ball. Yeah. And you got Jonas Valanciunas as a backup center,
that's huge.
In those Jokic minutes where he sits down for 4 minutes, they get blasted. I don't think that'll happen as much now because you got a Jonas Valanciunas who could. All the brother got to do is play 15 solid minutes.
He's going to do the Steven Adams in Houston. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, bang, get the offensive rebounds, man. You can see how impactful that is. So I'm like, if you look at this roster now, okay, we got that bench. Last year's roster, they went 7 without a bench. You got a bench, you could win that series now. Because if you look at OKC, kind of the same rosters, same players. Pretty much nothing's changed. But you can look at that Denver team. I think they've gotten better from last year. And they went I have to repeat this. We forget they went 7. It was a 7-game series. So I got to emphasize that a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised OKC making it out this year again. But to be fair, I already have a futures bet on the Denver Nuggets to win the championship. So that's all I got to say.
That's
all I got to say. Oh, yes, they were. Because I believe they have a legitimate shot. It would be a 50-50 series with OKC. I truly, truly believe that, even though OKC, based on regular season wins, I think they're going to blow away again because they're just so young. So they're going to get home court advantage based on that. But based on overall in the playoff series, they even said it. Jalen Williams said this. He was the most feared by the Denver Nuggets series. Any others, he's like, we had it in the bag. He's like, they got Jokic over there in the Nuggets. He said that was the team that gave him the most fear of losing the series.
Of course.
And he had no bench. And Jamal Murray was not Jamal Murray in his prime. He was kind of below his category of greatness based on his previous playoff performance. So we're talking about carrying. Jokic had one of the greatest carry last year. Hopefully he doesn't have to carry as much this year because he's got a bench squad now.
Because he has a bench.
I'm a huge team this.
Still don't have an all-star.
Jokic is multiple all-stars in one. He's a point guard and a freaking all-NBA center. That's who he is.
I agree.
He plays 2 positions.
The only thing, so I'm with P-Bush, and I kind of reluctantly take OKC in the West just because of they've done it before and they're young. So it was kind of more so. I always am a believer in once you get over the hump, it kind of becomes like those high pressure moments that you're going through in that first go around. It doesn't matter. You're kind of just in your head. You're just kind of just playing basketball at that point because you kind of got the monkey off your back when you won. The thing with Denver, though, because I do agree, they, I think, are the biggest threat because as much as I want to pick Houston, I'm just out on any – you know how I feel about Kevin Durant.
Van Fleet got injured, too.
Yeah, he got hurt, and I don't know what they're going to do trade-wise in terms of – unless Reed Shepherd becomes just an all-NBA point guard, which I doubt. And he has to play to actually get there because he didn't really play a lot last year. But I think
chance.
I'm out on Kevin Durant in terms of final. It's just he the closest he ever got was in Brooklyn, and you guys know how I feel about that. So it's just harder for me to pick that, even though I really do love everything else around that team, even with Van Vliet getting hurt. But the thing with Denver is, the thing that scares me is not even just the acquisitions that they got. I like Cam Johnson as much as I'm joking about Bruce Brown. Okay, he's there, so maybe he just fits in seamlessly because he knows what to do. But I'm more excited about Cam Johnson. To me, what I'd be worried about is the health of Jamal Murray and the health of Aaron Gordon. Because, Aaron Gordon's a bruiser. He's always taking the toughest assignments. He feels like one of those players where he could just be an okay player. He could go from being that second guy to Jokic to where, because of how physical the seasons have been and his injury toll, he then turns into a guy who's constantly injured and he's just once he comes back, he's okay. And Jamal Murray, you can't just keep saying he's gonna get into shape when he gets in. You got to stop doing. If you want to be a real player in the NBA and you're with the Pantheon great, which I always use the word I use for Jokic, you got to understand the moment. If you're Jamal Murray, stop taking advantage of Jokic is just gonna carry us throughout the entire season and I'll work my way back into shape. Well, then you're not gonna win a championship that way. Because then when it comes playoff time, yes, they went 7 with OKC, but I think OKC, to your point, I don't know who you said, from Jalen Williams, whatever, said it from OKC. I think if there's a chance that they match him up, OKC is going to probably play the hardest they've ever played. They're going to do different things to try to mitigate Jokic because they kind of feel we probably could have lost that series. So everybody knows Jokic is going to freaking still do what he's going to do. But I'm more worried about Jamal and Aaron and seeing that they're going to pick up from where they were. And I know Jamal usually plays well in the playoffs, but, with the West, I think being a little bit more competitive, you can't just have games where Jamal was just trying to get through because then you could be in a position where they're the 4th or 5th seed. And then now you're playing a team you should be playing in the first round because Jamal wanted to take his time to get conditioned. So, but in terms of the Western Conference teams, they're the only team I could see making that a series with OKC for me. And Houston's probably a distant third. But for the Eastern Conference, I think reason why I'm slightly with Orlando is just because of the upside. And that's more so because of Banchero. I think if they would have played the Knicks hypothetically in the Eastern Conference Finals, they always talk about best players win those series. I think Banchero, I mean, I would say Banchero and Brunson are the top 2 players, but I wouldn't be mad because of Franz's potential, where it could possibly be Banchero, Franz, and then Jalen Brunson, just sheerly because of the history of the NBA. Bigger wings, if they're playing at their apex level, or who you want in a playoff series. And as much as I love Brunson, he still has limitations being 6'2". So right now, I would say Banchero, Brunson are guys who would be the series. And if I think they're both playing at their highest level, Banchero, because last year he got injured, so his MVP trajectory kind of got, pushed to the side and whatever. And he kind of came back in the playoffs, and they was competitive with Boston, but obviously didn't win that series. But this is strictly because of the upside of Orlando. And also, too, I mean, we can't disregard Desmond Bane. Like, if Desmond Bane just comes in, and I don't even know what his percentages were shooting in Memphis, but if he was just
plus,
like, if he was just 39% and just say he was a tick down, I don't even know like how you guard Franz and Paolo, because then you're just going to be one of those guys are going to be averaging 25 to 30 a night, or 3 of those guys, because you're going to have Banchero, going off the wing, Franz going off the wing, and if defenses are collapsing on them, whatever, then you got Bane wide open. Like it.
And
Tyus
Tyus Jones
does what he's supposed to do, and Tyus Jones being a solid point guard, like I said, you can never have enough of those guys on any. Like Tyus Jones is just seamless fit everywhere, even for a bad team. Like he's just going to make the team. It's kind of like the Chris Paul effect, but to a smaller scale. Like when Chris Paul gets on the team, you just know that team, no matter how bad they are, they're going to play a certain style where they're competitive, maybe losing that game, but they're in games because it's just he controls the offense. And Tyus is not to that level at all, but he's part of the reason why he gets those contracts and stays in the league as long as he is, because he's a calming force and he's another guy who can handle the ball. So you have that piece. To me, that just makes Orlando so just like there's not like a high risk, high reward, because I don't think they're going to be so low where they don't make the playoffs. But I would say their low floor would be like they get out in the second round. But to me, I think they can make the finals just because I think their talent on that team will allow them to get to a point where they get there. Now, I do agree with Zoo. It's going to be something where rubber meets the road, and they more than likely meet the New York Knicks. The Knicks are going to be battle tested. So they're, guys definitely do play different when pressure is on, and the Knicks have been battle tested. So that would be an interesting series, but I think with the upside, barring injury, I think Orlando can get there. Like I said, also in the East, I just said the Knicks, but I don't really see any other team being a legitimate threat. I will say, though, with Boston, I think they're going to be competitive as hell. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they're a top 6 seed. Because Jaylen Brown's still there. They got Anthony Simons. They still got a lot of their core guys. I know Al Horford left, but I mean, he's on his last leg. And if he is saying, "Oh, I want to go to Golden State and win championships," then bro, you chose the wrong team, because Golden State is no championship. I love Steph, but they're not on any. I mean, they just signed Kuminga. Like, they didn't even want to pay Kuminga. Like, they're out of the championship winning business unless they make a massive trade. So to me, I think Boston, out of the teams that we see that are either injured with a star or like teams that are just kind of on the bottom barrel, I think Boston's still going to be super competitive. So I think they can get a top 6 seed because they still talent. I think they still got like really good talent. But that's it. Like Indiana, I'm not high on. Cleveland, you could sell me if everyone's injured, and Mobley because that's another thing I'm not really thinking
takes
about.
The next step.
Mobley takes like he's 25, 15, and whatever, like 5 assists or something. And then it's like, okay, well, then we have a different conversation because he falls into the category of like, I mean, even though he's a center or power forward, he's a big wing because he can shoot from outside. So then maybe you could sell me on that. But because what would have to happen in that situation is he has to become the best player on the team. Because as much as I love Donovan Mitchell, he's a undersized scoring guard, and those guys, they don't win in the playoffs. He's a little bit of a point.
He's more
like the point.
Yeah,
he is a scoring guard kind of though, because
he's dropping he had to drop 40.
He's mini Luka. He might be mini Luka.
Baby Luka, man. Baby Luka. They play the same.
So, yeah,
they
you're
play
right.
The same.
They kind of are. He's a scoring guard. So yeah, to your point, Donovan Mitchell. Ideally, if I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, I'm hoping like, wow, Mobley just took a step I didn't know about. Now he's our best player on our team, and Mitchell is a supplemental piece of that. That would be awesome. So, but that's only the guy. And like I said, Giannis, they always have a chance, but they're just brittle. Like I said, who is there? If Kevin Porter
Jr.
trade, like if that's really the point guard, it's just Giannis might be in New York by the trade deadline.
And Doc Rivers. Can't forget about Doc.
And if that does happen, then I'm out on Orlando. I'm taking the Knicks if that happens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't even know what that trade would even look like, but they're probably not going to get. It just be
Mikal Bridges package. A Mikal Bridges package.
They probably ask for OG.
Probably both, because they're gonna try to win still because they don't have any of their draft picks. But you got what you got to do to get Giannis.
Because I'm trying to think of fit. Well, Karl Anthony Towns can shoot. It's like, who would you rather get?
I think he fits. Yeah,
one of the wings.
I think fits next to Giannis.
Yeah, because he can shoot.
Yeah.
Would you rather give up the 2 wings, or would you rather give up Karl and picks and then still keep the 2 wings and Giannis? I think I'd rather keep the 2 wings and Giannis, even though the shooting might be.
Yeah, I don't think the Bucks do that deal. I think the Bucks.
Yeah, they're gonna want.
Yeah, I think they're gonna probably ask for both the wings.
They don't want Cat
because it makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense.
Cat's a complimentary guy,
and they actually need to get a lot of picks because I don't even know what
they don't own any of their picks. They gave it all for Drew Holiday. They gave it all for that championship, which was worth it. But they gave it all.
That's true. They did go all in.
They legit went all in. So can't hate on them doing that.
Yeah. So we'll see. But
wow, I'm honestly shocked. You guys picked both of you guys picked Orlando.
Yeah,
I'm honestly shocked because I know it is. It is wide open. But Orlando in the finals, man. I'm trying to see it. I can't see it.
If Boston was healthy, I wouldn't pick them.
Yeah,
of course.
If Indiana was healthy, I wouldn't pick them. But it's just like it's the path of least resistance. And with the Knicks, I like the matchup.
I don't like Mike Brown. I'm sorry.
Like Mike Brown?
No, I don't. I know. Oh, he had a great year in Kings. Yeah, he got fired like the next year. Jesus Christ, guys, come on.
Yeah, like, he does the classic. He wins Coach of the Year, and then the next year he gets fired, man.
Exactly, like, that could very well happen again. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
I just think it's
the only thing about Thibodeau is that he'll always get his dudes to try on defense.
Yeah,
and my point is, I just think the Magic they're not better built, but they're a more well-rounded, full basketball team. I mean, I don't really think we haven't seen them play. And yes, they have injury issues, but the holes, I don't think they really have too many. They filled the point guard need with Tyus Jones. They are trying to address the shooting need with Bane, Jace Richardson. Tyus Jones also kind of fits that as well. I don't know. I'm betting upside there.
That's what it's for me. It's upside.
The Knicks are just like, I don't know.
They're a little bit of Jalen.
It's like the Detroit Lions winning a championship. Do you see it happening? No.
No, I just see the Knicks winning, but I think it's because Jalen Brunson, which we were kind of hinting at last year, he is like Luka. I think it's just because he's shorter and he tries on defense is why he gets to get away with it. But he does play like Luka, and it kind of the ball does stop in his hand a little bit. So it kind of feels like and maybe Mike will bring it to where it's more of a free flow. I mean, I don't know what his offensive style is, but like maybe it's more free.
He doesn't have De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. So but yeah, it's just upside with Orlando. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we're kind of all on the same page in certain conferences. So we're gonna figure out if these teams make us look good or make us look dumb. So speaking of these teams again, we kind of maybe touched on a little bit in this first topic, but kind of transitioning into teams that we're not necessarily saying they're going to be going to the NBA Finals, but teams that you could see making a run into the playoffs, maybe making an upset or two. You'd be like, oh, it's a conference semis, and X team is in the are still playing right now. So, Zoo, who is your dark horse for the Western and Eastern Conference Finals or conferences?
For a dark horse, man, like I don't know if this would actually be considered a dark horse anymore because I'm telling you, this Eastern Conference, man, there's not many options. There's not many options. Like, if I'm talking about just sneaky making the playoffs, like I think Detroit already made the playoffs last year, but I think Detroit's roster
is really good.
And sneaky conference finals.
Conference
finals appearance in this conference this year. Because
at least the semis, I could see them in the semis.
I'm looking at this roster where they were without one of their best players in Jaden Ivey last year, and they were still extremely, extremely competitive. And it was their first year of making any noise ever, right? So if you're talking about this team just based on their trajectory, where you got the young core, you got Cade Cunningham, you got the center, like you got a roster where it's well balanced with Tobias, Ausar Thompson. Like if you look at it on paper roster right now, like it's a very, very competitive team, and you just slide in Jaden Ivey right there, who hopefully can be healthy this year. This team could jump to the conference finals in the Eastern Conference. Because I truly believe that Cade Cunningham is that guy. And he showed a lot of flashes last year. But even though he had some moments where he didn't completely go through, like in his first ever playoff appearance against the Knicks team, which was their entire defense is focused on this guy, 25-9-8 as his first playoff appearance.
Can't ask for much better.
Yeah, 25-9-8 as that's stereotypical, that 6'6" big point guard where you can dominate the possession. It's just a classic playoff guy. And this guy's really shown that, like, the only thing is he shot 43%. So we're trying to increase that efficiency right now. But if you're looking at his stats on paper for his rookie debut in the playoff performance, this team's here to say. And a fluke what they did last year and making the playoffs. Like, I really, really like this roster. And I'm just like, with these young rosters, kind of just run the paper and young guys get better faster. There's no ceiling yet. The Thompson twin, we haven't seen that guy's ceiling at all because the guy can't shoot at all. And hopefully he can completely progress offensively. So if you look at this roster, just let the young guys flourish right now. Cade Cunningham keep dominating. Bring your backcourt mate with Duren down there, down low, like veterans. It's a really, really awesome roster where they just got to keep that step, but don't get too crazy and adding any too many players right now because they just have to keep growing their young guys in the Eastern Conference. In the Eastern Conference, man, you get that stud guy, build some guys around him, you can easily have an opportunity to pull like an Indiana Pacers and potentially make the NBA Finals in the upcoming years because it doesn't take a transcendent team to make it out in the Eastern Conference. Kind of just sometimes takes a really good team and
goes all in.
Exactly. And make the Eastern Conference right now. So I like these Detroit Pistons team. And I feel like this Detroit Pistons team, based on the regular season, I think they could really, really surprise people of their number of wins this year. Because of the conference, like I'm telling you, the bottom of the East is really, really bad. So you're going to get a lot of free wins there. I think they could definitely become a 50-plus win team this year and potentially be a top 3 seed. I think potentially top 2 because the Eastern Conference, man, I'm like, there's going to be so many bad teams and so many free, easy wins. So for me, I think they're going to take that next step again. They were a middling play-in. They were kind of almost play-in team right above the play-in, but now I think they take that next step. 50-plus wins this year for me. 50-plus wins for the Detroit Pistons.
Dang. What about the West? Anyone in the West that you like or no?
Oh, man. In the West, the West is just a different story because everybody's just
everyone's a dark horse.
Everyone's kind of good already.
In the same boat.
Yeah, if you're looking at based on last year, from 48 wins to 50 wins, there's a lot of teams, but I think this is kind of an obvious one where San Antonio at 34-48. I think they finally take that step that we're waiting right now for them to become definitely play in, potentially that 6th seed to get in and not be part of the play-in. But okay, this is Wemby's coming out party. Hopefully this guy stays healthy this year.
Yeah.
Like, man, they say this guy got stronger. They said they said this guy grew another inch.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just like, Jesus. Man, at the end of his career, he might be 7'7", man. Like, Jesus Christ, this dude just needs to stay healthy right now. But you bring in a number 2 pick to a roster where I think they had 34 wins, but that's because Wembanyama was out. So you bring in De'Aaron Fox with a Harper, with like Stephon Castle, with the Wembanyama. My God, like the pieces are all there now. They got the core. Yep. They got the foundational superstar piece, DPOY, probably the next decade if he stays healthy. Like 34 wins. They'll make that jump to 44, 45 wins this year. Like
that's a big leap from the West.
Yeah, I think it's a big leap for them. Like this team needs to get some playoff experience right now because I'm like, you got Wembanyama. Like as much as I love Wembanyama, I don't know how long this guy's career is going to be because the dude's just 7'5", 7'6". So he might not have that great 15-year career, but he could have that great 11 to 12-year career. So every year freaking matters with this guys. And you got to cash in with the transcendent guy that you were gifted him. The league gifted you with the number 1 pick. So you got to cash in that poker chip in and win with this guy because this guy's a freak of nature and he's got the work ethic of a guy where he got a work of a bench warmer where like I'm playing for my playoff life, but this guy has a mentality of getting better. So let's see this guy in a big setting. So I got him 45, 46 wins this year. So adding 12 wins this year for me.
Wow.
And hopefully we see Wembanyama in the playoffs and see some playoff battles right now. Cause I'm like
him versus Jokic would be great.
Oh yes. I just want to see some greatness against greatness. And Wembanyama, we seen him in the regular season. Cute. It's cute games. let's see in playoff moments to see
Yeah.
if Wembanyama's that guy.
Wow. No, I like that. I mean, I think the Spurs are like the obvious dark horse pick, right?
Mhm.
You know, year over year, man. I'm gonna go with the team that isn't. They're not obvious this year, and you glazed over them, Zoo. Actually, or both of you did. You both wrote them off, man. I think, and I'll say it right now. This is the last year that the Warriors will be relevant. And hear me out. I know they're three core guys. They're 35, 37,
Jimmy's
38.
awesome.
What was their record after the Jimmy Butler trade?
Oh, they were dominating.
And
They
what
were really
happened
good.
in the playoffs when they were in that series with the Timberwolves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Steph gets injured.
Yep.
They were cooking in
They
the
were.
playoffs
They were.
before he got hurt. Now, sure, you could say another year, another older. They go on and they add another 39-year-old, as we mentioned, and Al Horford.
Al Horford.
That's great. And sure, they didn't buy into Kuminga right away. Maybe they were shopping and maybe they weren't.
They need to trade him.
And you want to know?
I think they signed him to trade him because he has a 2-year contract where
Exactly.
he's able to get traded.
And who do you think they go for?
Oh, Giannis.
Giannis.
They already made some calls. Yeah.
Sean, you're on mute. You can keep that quiet if you want to or not. That's fine by me.
My bad. I got beat up by the mute button right there. But
Yeah, there you go. That's karma right there.
If Giannis, if they were to trade like Warriors, yeah. But like if Milwaukee trades for Kuminga and picks, that is whoever's
Sean?
the GM, get out, man. Come on, man.
Agreed. It would be a Nico
Yeah.
Harrison level move, right? At
That might
different
be
age,
worse.
and he already's got the championship. But it's a Nico Harrison level.
At least Dallas got AD.
At least they did, yeah. And we didn't even talk about the Mavs. The Mavs could be interesting this year, but on the Warriors side, I just think, look, these are guys that they do not care about anything else other than winning basketball games.
Yep.
I think they're probably
Everybody got paid.
Curry and Butler are probably two of the most no-nonsense star players in the league in the sense of I don't care if you have a great night, I have a great night. Jimmy might be a little bit more egotistical, but not in a scoring sense.
About his money. When
About
he
his
gets
money.
paid, he's happy.
And exactly, he's happy now. Draymond Green, he's the glue guy. He'll keep everything together. But I really I think Podziemski could take another step this year. They need Moses Moody to also be taking a step. If they do decide to keep Kuminga and they don't make a trade, I think he could take a nice leap this year as well. You know, I'm not saying they're going to be finals contenders this year, but I think they will be a top 4 seed by the time. I think they might be top 3 in the West at the point of the All-Star break. I think that'll be kind of the shock at like, oh, wow, they're actually still relevant. They're still playing. And if these younger guys can actually come in and play meaningful minutes, it only helps their older guys stay healthy heading into April and into the playoffs. So they're not a dark horse. I'm not picking them. I'm not betting on them. But I just think people are like, oh, they're old. You know, we got all these new teams coming in. I think they're going to be ahead of a lot of guys at the midpoint to 75% of the way of the season. And they will be there in the playoffs as a top 6 seed. So you can write them off all you want, but Steph Curry is still Steph Curry, and he doesn't have to drive in the lane to make an impact. Let's just put it that way. So being 35 is not an issue. Mm-hmm. On the East side, you took one of mine. I was between one of two teams, kind of for a little bit differing reasons, but both led by star point guards. That's the Atlanta Hawks, man.
Oh, wow. Wow.
They're taking a huge risk on Porzingis, man. They're taking a huge risk on Porzingis. But could you imagine if that pays off, that pick and pop with Kristaps Porzingis and Trae Young? I mean, he's had Clint Capella back, over the years, man. That's great. But not a guy that he can swing back over his shoulder and kick on top of the 2 3-point shot. So I know Kristaps had all that weird controversy going around and all these weird storylines that apparently he may or may not have had something back in the spring. But maybe if he can be fully back and healthy, that's huge. But the quiet biggest loss that they had last year was Jalen Johnson. Man.
Yep.
I mean, 19 points per game. I think he had shoulder surgery. I could be wrong there, but he obviously was out for the season. Huge. And then not only that, but they went and they invested in another 3-and-D guy and someone that I think we all enjoyed watching play, or at least respected his play in the playoffs, in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Mentioned him earlier in the podcast. But they also got Dyson Daniels, man, and that is an absolute savage. So they've really invested in their young 3-and-D wing defenders. They're not the studs of the team, but those are all guys that can give you 15 to 20 on any given night. And if 2 or 3 of them are having games like that consistently, this team's going to be relevant in the Eastern Conference. And Trae Young is Trae Young, man. So I'm not, once again, I put them kind of in the Pistons category, Zoo, maybe a little less.
50 wins.
little less upside, I think, just because of the youth of the Pistons. But I would also argue that the Hawks are more battle tested than the Detroit Pistons, especially Trae Young, obviously Porzingis as well, and they got some young guys. So, it's a bit of a fresh start down there in Atlanta with their core guys still there, but they're in an Eastern Conference that's wide open. This team, I would not be surprised if they're a top 5 seed.
Battle tested for sure, and also if they get into the battle and they're in the midst of it, my money is on Trae Young because I think Trae Young will never. He's probably going to make the shot. So I think in terms of shot making in the clutch, Trae Young is definitely in that upper echelon of guys. I'm with you, people. So in the Eastern Conference with Atlanta, I will make this little side note though. Just watching, and listen, I'm watching not summer league, but like preseason basketball. This is just like not even a hard hitting analysis of like, oh, I'm breaking down everything, but just watching highlights. I think if the 76ers would have got Ace Bailey, I think they could be in this dark horse conversation. Just because I think Ace Bailey looks like, and I like Cooper. Everybody loves the analytical guy, but like I keep saying, this league is about shot making, and Ace Bailey can make shots. So obviously, nobody likes Joel Embiid right now because he's always injured. But if we just looked at everything from like if no one got hurt, which is hard to do with Embiid because even when
he's always hurt,
he'll get hurt. Like he gets hurt, so it's kind of like this is a moot point. But like if he was healthy, Paul George, Tyrese, like, and then just put Ace in. I think a lot of GMs made a mistake with Ace. People get caught up a lot in just stupid stuff with like he's on a bad team. And tend to do like 6'8" guys again. Like I'm not a GM, but just newsflash: 6'8" guys who have movement skills and can score from all 3 levels are rare. People are getting. I think people are because it's such an analytic game now. Everybody wants the 3-and-D guy, and like he fits better. Like, I'm sorry, Ace Bailey's going to be even though I don't know, did Colin Kneppel get picked higher than him? I guarantee you, Ace Bailey makes more All-NBAs than Colin Kneppel.
Yes, he did.
I think he makes more All-NBAs than him. Like, just stop overthinking. And he would just get up love with, I don't know, it's crazy. But
I think a lot of it was because of
76ers.
I think it was a lot of it was because his management was kind of forcing him to drop down to the Washington Wizards.
They were trying to. They were
forcing. Like they weren't going to any teams.
But I also think Daryl Morey, and see, this is why I always respect guys like Danny Ainge. He just blocks out all of it. He looks at, if you just go look at his track record, he looks at what can this guy do in this league, and he just picks the best guy. Like even though it's like, oh, we don't want to go to Utah. He's like, I don't want to go to Utah. Then he's like, okay, cool. You're coming to Utah. You're gonna report, and you're gonna make our team better. Like it's just. And
I'll pay you.
He's and it's very black and white. So, and Daryl Morey, it surprised me that he skipped him, but I don't know. We'll see. VJ Edgecombe might be great, but that's not the point. Back to the Hawks, like the same things you brought up. It kind of feels like they're positioning the team around Trae to where, hey, we're getting all your deficiencies out of the way, and we're getting guys to surround you that can help you uplift you to a point where, hey, all you need to really do is, to your point, make Porzingis better with wraparound passes or do lobs to Jalen Johnson because he's an athletic freak, or Chig Okongwu, or even the guy they got in the draft, which is one of the other reasons I want to bring up, Asa Newell, I think. I think he's from Georgia. He's kind of in that mode of, I guess you would say, Derek Lively, where he's a high energy guy, but I think his potential to shoot might be a little bit better than Derek Lively from 3. So that's obviously going to take time. But I do think that the team, just in terms of center, forward, wings, whatever you want to call it, they've gotten a whole lot better. And to your point, Peebush, like I kind of think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be probably the unsung hero in terms of like he's probably going to take one of the better defensive assignments, even though Dyson Daniels is probably one of the best. I mean, he is probably the best defender in the league right now, just in terms of steals and just anticipation. So I think the wing depth, Trae obviously being there, Asa Newell, Chig Okongwu, like they got a lot of pieces where, let's just say they are around the 7-8 and they're in the play-in, but then they win the 7-8 game and then they play whoever. It's going to be a tough matchup because if these guys are clicking and Jalen Johnson, to your point, like him averaging 19, like he could take a step to like maybe 22, 23. Then now it's like, now it's not just Trae. You're centering it on him. Like these other guys can make shots. So to your point, do I think they're going to be conference finals? No, but it wouldn't shock me if they make a couple of upsets because they do have guys that now look like they can surround Trae and just help Trae just play his game in terms of being the flashy point that can score on the wheels. that's basically my dark horse team. And Detroit is another one that I like as well. Western Conference, Dallas, that you said that, I'm very interested because obviously D'Angelo Russell will be in there. People are going to be like, every team he's on is just whatever. So I know that's kind of a little bit of an anchor. I know that's a little bit of an anchor. People's going to stay away. And it's kind of also depends on like Kyrie's timeline. I don't know when he's coming back.
He's out.
Like maybe it's after the All-Star break. I don't know. And if it is,
I think he's out the year.
You think he's out the entire year?
At his age,
I think he's out the entire year.
Well, then if he doesn't come back, then
he's not coming back.
It's just that's a tough one. So, and man, it's just I don't know, man. I really want to pick like Houston just because. Even though I said they're in the tier below, I just can't bring myself to do it with Kevin Durant. So I kind of going to agree with San Antonio. It feels like even though De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle are kind of just like a cluster in that little like who's going to play.
It's like I'm so
I do want to see it though because it could be something where we're overthinking it and they're just like complimentary basketball and it now you got 3 guards who can handle and can be in crunch time and just make great plays. So then that might be an advantage from now. The only thing that scares me with San Antonio is Wembanyama and his health. Because as much as he is a freak, him being 5 is cool for like Bleacher Report to report, but those guys that tall, it's just the shelf life. We just seen the story. Like Kevin Durant's been really, and he's even had his stints of where he's been injured for a long period, but he's one of the only movement 7-footers that has stayed relatively healthy. A lot of these 7-footers who move a lot, that's why Jokic is going to have a shelf life forever because he just don't move a lot. Like he does, but
he does it slowly.
Yeah, and it's just not explosive jumps. So with Wembanyama, I kind of get nervous. Like I don't know if you guys saw, like he had the alley-oop from I think it was Dylan Harper, and it kind of looked awkward, like how he caught it. It was just like I just feel like with how he moves, it's just you're not meant to be moving that way and landing that way. So it just looks awkward. But if he stays healthy, I do think they make a massive leap because they are one of another teams where it's just like it's not just Wembanyama. Like they got kind of dudes everywhere. So it's like they're kind of like they could be a matchup. A lot of teams where it's like, what could you do with these? I mean, Devin Vassell's another guy on the team where it's like everybody forgets about him, but he could put 30 on the board at any minute. So that's probably where I'm leaning. I mean, like you said, in the West, it's just a lot of teams that are kind of clustered in together because you can't say Minnesota is, you can't say the Lakers are, you can't say Phoenix is, even though I don't think Phoenix will be any good. It's a lot of those teams are kind of clustered, so it's kind of hard to make
fell off a cliff.
I mean, if you want to say like a really long shot is Utah making the play-in and being competitive, like
no,
I don't know, not the playoffs, but
not with Danny Ainge tanking.
He's not trading Laurie. That's the thing. He says it every. I don't think he's trading Laurie, so they're going to keep Laurie. And if they got Laurie and Ace, and they got some dudes like they can make the
they got some talented guys, but they're going to do some. Groin is a little sore. Like they're gonna do some shenanigans.
Who makes
the highest draft pick? The higher draft pick.
I'm trying to think. Like it's 10 spots playing. Like who else would make the play-in besides them? Like I'm not picking Portland over them. I'm not picking New Orleans over them. I'm not picking. I mean Phoenix maybe.
Sacramento.
I'd rather have Utah's upside than those teams that I'm naming.
I would put Sacramento like right above
Sacramento,
Utah. Right now.
Like, who is the worst team in the West? I think it's New Orleans.
New Orleans or Portland, yeah.
But then New Orleans has got Zion, so who knows? Olympic Zion.
Stop it.
Olympic
Zion. He looks leaner, man. He looks leaner. I have not given up on Zion.
Just wait till he doesn't have time to cook meals anymore, man. He's door dashing to the hotel.
I just thought, is Memphis considered, I guess, a dark horse or no?
Yeah.
Because John is a dude and JJ's a dude, so it's like,
they have really good young guys too.
And they retooled their roster. They gave away Bane, which some
one of the best
don't do, and
it's a great organization.
Going young.
So I would never count them out. They're a good organization.
They'll be scrappy for sure.
Yeah,
they'll be scrappy. So yeah, but if we had all things are considered equal, it's San Antonio, pending Wembanyama's health, of course. Yeah. So I feel like that's just a little bit more of a no-brainer. But getting into this last topic really quick. MVP odds for the NBA. So it could be anybody, don't matter. great odds, bad odds, whatever. Who are you trending towards placing your money on for the NBA MVP? People, you can go ahead.
Matas Buzel. No, I'm just kidding.
God,
10,000 plus 10,000.
Most improved.
He could be most improved. I agree with you there.
I think that's a good pick for Matas because nobody really talks him because the Bulls suck. So if he puts up like 20 plus points, like people are like,
he could be up there, and especially if they make the play in. That would
oh yeah.
No, but all joking aside, I'd say I got two approaches, man. I got my long shot one, but I still think it could be a value. But you are taking a risk on the guy not being traded, and that is Giannis. I think if they finish as a top 5 seed in the East and he stays in Milwaukee, he's probably right up there in the MVP conversation. I mean, the Jokic, yeah, sure, you could talk about it. Happening again. SGA, he got it last year. If anything, they give it back to Jokic.
That feels like a one-time, yeah.
It feels a little bit of one-off. Even though we all agree they're going to be a great team regular season, I think Jalen Williams taking another step might take a little bit away from SGA needing to drop 33 points a game. So Giannis, I think he's the good value play. He's at plus 950 from what I was seeing. Very solid for being potentially the only true dude on the team. And that is usually a great catalyst if they also are making the playoffs for being an MVP. But as a betting man, I'm putting my money. It's going to happen this year, Zoo. Your boy, he's finally going to get one. Luka Doncic. I think it's going to happen. Give me at him at plus 360.
Luka Doncic. Yeah, because I remember last year.
Actually, it's better odds than I thought.
Yeah. Luka Doncic, he's one of those guys where he's a perennial superstar, and he's one of the rare superstars without the hardware right now. Because I remember when we were having this discussion last year, I was between Luka Doncic and SGA, and obviously SGA won it. And I picked Luka, and he failed me because he got traded, he got injured, came into the season a little chubby. So like things happened, and SGA took the award away because his team went berserk and he averaged 30 points a game. So if you're looking at the contenders right now, I think there's only 3. Like I know you mentioned Giannis as a long shot. It's just his roster is just you got to win.
So bad.
I would say at least 50 wins is probably the minimum. Like 50 wins outside of averaging a triple-double season that Russ did. Like that's pretty much takes something historical. So 50 wins is the minimum threshold. So your team's got to be good enough to win 50 wins. And for consensus, like SGA is kind of a lock. He's going to be down there in the final voting polls because his team is just so good, and he's going to average 30 a game. So I'm like, that's a default. He's going to finish in the top 3. Jokic, because that dude has the best advanced analytics numbers in the last decade, is putting up numbers that hasn't been seen since like prime LeBron James based on analytics. So the analytic darlings, a lot of people just vote based on analytics. Like this guy has the best box value over replacement player. This guy has all the win shares. A lot of people just go based only on analytics, and that's how they make their decision making. And last year, even though he won the analytics, people leaned on the win side and SGA, and they didn't want to give him an award again. So that happens. But Jokic is always in there, and my man Luka Doncic right now. So I'm looking at this roster right now where they got to win 50 plus wins. I don't think 50 wins for Luka gets you the MVP. I would say it probably is going to take at least 55 wins for this roster to win MVP this year. So I'm looking at the Lakers team right now where
Lakers vote maybe, though, if he gets 50. The Lakers, he can get 50 maybe.
50?
And he hasn't gotten one, so people...
yeah, that's the thing. That's the one thing was like, I feel like voters, the way the voters like, they kind of just like, they got kind of a democracy. They just want, let's share the MVP award. I feel bad for SGA. There's a lot of it's just like, Joel.
There's narrative, the story,
a lot of it's narrative. A lot of it's narrative, so it really, really does matter.
LeBron last year.
Man. Yeah, I'm just like, that's true.
Yep.
But I'm like, do I think Luka's going to get it this year? I hope he does because I'm a big Luka fan. But I feel like playing with LeBron, it just takes away from your MVP votes. Like, unless LeBron James missed considerable amount of games and Luka
he's missing a month.
And he's missing a couple games already. But I feel like, can Luka carry this team to win 55? He can. He definitely can right now. But I have to go against it, man.
Don't do it.
I'm going Jokic. Going back home to Jokic, man. He got robbed last year. I'm going to keep saying that. He got absolutely robbed last year, even though SGA, based on his regular season, like, okay, your team is better. You got better supporting castmates. You win 60-plus wins. You got Jalen Williams. You got Alex Caruso.
Jokic pulled a D Rose. That's what he did. Carrying.
Yeah. Jokic carried. And I feel like with the bench guys, the voters be like, oh, what happened last year? Let's give it back to Jokic where it belongs. Because I'm telling you, the analytics, this dude just dominates every analytics. And I think like he's going to easily hit the 55. I think he's going to easily hit the 55 plus wins this year. And even though OKC's record might be a little better, SGA back to back. Will the voters do that? I actually can't see the voters do that because SGA is 30 a game.
They would have to dominate again, like how record wise, though. I think for him to get a
but
shot.
I feel like they potentially can again. Like they're over unders. Like it's gonna be around 60 wins again this year. So
that's crazy.
Which is I'm like this team is on that like dynasty trajectory. So SGA winning back-to-back MVPs. Sometimes I'm very anti that, but I feel like narrative-wise, they'll be like, oh, yeah, this is just Thunder's time where they got a dynasty and you give it to the best player on the best team. So I can see a lot of voters leaning that way too. I'm going with the analytics people, man. The analytics are going to bring it back. Bring it back. But SGA for MVP back-to-back, I can see that happening again too. So I'm just like.
How many? So that if it was Jokic, that would be 4?
Yeah.
Yep.
The only reason why I don't see it is because I don't know who gets the vote. Like I don't know who are the qualifications, but I feel like there's a lot of older sports writers and maybe some young people too, and that are analytic driven. But I do think just off of sheer like, I think everybody understands how great Jokic is, but I think there will be some voters who are like, I'm not getting more. So I think that might work against him because it's just like what are we doing now? Because then it kind of some people will be like, so this guy who some people I think are because Jokic has been obviously we all know he's dominant and everybody knows he's great and analytics plays a lot of his story, but there still are a lot of old-fashioned writers who get Jokic and it's like Shaq would rip him apart, and I think it's like so this guy's gonna have more MVP. I think that might play into Jokic because like you said the back-to-back, and I think that kind of played into like Shai's thing. It's like are we really? Because to your point about the narratives, I think people honestly look at stuff, even though if you just look at sheer numbers and how he does, it's like this is a no-brainer. But I think part of what helped Shai is like, I'm not giving Jokic 3. Like, he's not going to be – sometimes it's like, he's not going to be the guy that's getting 3 in a row. Now, Wembanyama, because he's such a freak, and he's, like, exciting, and it's just kind of like what people think about the MVP. They don't look at, like, necessarily the numbers. It's exciting. Like, if Victor got 3 in a row, people would be like, oh, well, that makes sense because he's such a freakazoid. I think there's still, even though Jokic has proven he's won a championship, like, he is a Pantheon great, there's still people who just look at sheer, like, eye test. And it's like, it's just they don't want to do it. So that might work against it. To your point, I don't think Shai could get it. Because I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see the team doing what they did last year in the regular season. If they do, then I think Shai's going to win it again.
Yeah.
But I just don't see
because if they win
that.
65, I feel like the vote's going to be very similar.
I don't see the –
and they're going to give it to the team when he's 65.
The West is slightly better, and it's just want to. Like, are they going to really want to get 65 again? Maybe they do.
After winning a championship.
Yeah, championship. Like, they already – it might be more games where Shai's resting and stuff, so I don't think that's possible. So I was looking more so at – long shot, like very long shot. And the two guys I was looking at just MVP odd wise was Anthony Edwards and Cade Cunningham. If I had to pick out of those two, I pick Anthony Edwards. Because I think if Minnesota continues that momentum they had last year and gets to your point, like maybe to 50 or even 49, like I think Anthony, because of just his persona, that carries a lot of weight and what he is as a player. He can kind of get away with maybe 49, 50-ish, whatever team. I don't know where they would be ranked at, but I think he got to get away with that, and they can maybe push it to him. Now, obviously, you would have to see a situation where Luka's having a down year. Giannis has, I mean, I love Giannis, but I don't think stats-wise he can get there, but I don't think his team can get there, so he's kind of out. Luka, to your point, LeBron is always just that trough where if he's on a team and he's playing well, it kind of just takes away from it. The only way it happens, I feel like, for Luka is if LeBron's out for an extended period of time, which I don't know if that happens, maybe. But and like other guys like that, like the thing with Anthony Edwards, I feel he's kind of been on it because of that. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago when he got to like the conference finals and it's just kind of his coming out parties, having commercials. I think he's charismatic enough to where the storylines are going to matter to where I think if they can stay on that trajectory like it was like last year and carry that and play well in the regular season, they're like in that top 3-4 seed. I think he could win it just because they want something new. And two, he kind of has that profile of like the high flying 2-guard, exciting. If you want to talk about face of the league narratives, whatever, like it would look better if Anthony were to get it, because then it's like, okay, we're maybe pushing it to that guy. But I mean, even with his odds, he's like 2,500. So that's a super long shot. I see that on FanDuel. So it's not like this is something where I'm like, oh, I'm running to the bank with it. Like if I ran to the bank, I probably would be Shea, just because it is kind of looking like they want it if they are being so deep. Like even if Shea is just, let's just say Shea is only averaging like 25 and he's got like maybe high assist numbers.
Oh, really?
Like he can still win the MVP, because I think the team is so good.
Yeah.
They're still they could maybe win a crap load of games, even with Shea just playing like great, not like elite.
Yeah.
Because if you actually look at the other odds, like I'm not buying like Victor, I'm just not buying it. He's plus 1,200, but people I think is just anticipating he's going to have these crazy numbers, and it's just like he came off an injury last year. Then it's like I said, Anthony Edwards is, I'm looking at FanDuel, like plus 2,500. That's a long shot. Cade Cunningham is plus 5,000. Like the only way I see Cade winning it is, to your point, Zoo, if they get to like 50, or maybe they get to 55 in the East this week. If they get to 55 in the East in this week, and let's just say he ticks up to like 28, 29, and maybe he's closer to a triple-double stat line, but not a triple-double, maybe. But that would have to all teams just kind of either being injured or like have an okay season. So that's kind of whatever. And then after Cade, I'm just like, I'm out. Like there's nothing else in there that makes sense past Cade. Like, I mean, Kevin Durant, no. Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, no. Like Paolo at plus 12, 20. Wait, he's plus. I don't know. Like I didn't
Paolo,
because I didn't even know Paolo was that low. Paolo's like 12.5. I don't know. Like he's not even plus 10,000, which is crazy to me. He should be plus 10,000. So I don't know. Like Paolo would be the only one where I'm just like a shot in the dark. Whatever, let's go. He stays healthy the entire season. Orlando has
throw a fiver on it, you know.
Yeah, throw a fiver on it. But realistically, it's like Anthony Edwards and up. Like if I had to do three, it's Anthony, Jokic, Shea would be like the three in my head. Like okay, they would win it. But it is. If they just have a spectacular season and their teams, whatever, they're gonna. I think want to shift to that, because I mean that's just kind of how the NBA is very more into narrative wins you MVP stuff. Like, and I know it's analytic driven. Like we don't hear about narratives in the NFL ever about like, oh, this team, like it's just usually the best player just wins. And I don't know about hockey.
And it's a quarterback.
Yeah, and it's usually a quarterback, which I guess is the narrative within itself, I guess, because
that's true.
It's playing on the team,
so
maybe
the most valuable.
But yeah, so that probably is the most.
Tell that to Jonathan Taylor.
But yeah, so we'll see. But that was our NBA preview. Make sure you guys tune into Tyson Talks _ on Instagram, Tyson Talks _ on TikTok. Make sure you tune into us, Quantrill Knows, on YouTube. We'll be getting out NBA content for the following days. Get some follow-up questions and answers about the first week of the season, probably in the next couple deep into the NFL. So make sure you guys are tuning in content for that. Spotify, Apple, 5-star review. Leave us a comment. Make sure you give us a nice comment or a 5-star review so we can get to algorithms. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.